Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Gemini energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Gemini energy. The bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy. We all have our dualistic nature, and we have free will. We have to make decisions in our life, and in our more high vibe nature of having some more hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in others and in love, and tempering our more egoic nature, we might want to move forward in life a little differently than we have been. The bottom row can represent kind of our comfort zone and our fears and insecurities that we need to work through. And some people could be battling within themselves. Some people aren't. Some people already completed the debate and they are moving forward in life differently. And they worked through things in their comfort zone that were keeping them maybe feeling stuck in a way, like their life wasn't quite moving forward in the way that they wanted. And other people weren't ever debating it. They're happy living their life the way they live it. And other people are just more shadowy. Our shadowy nature can be like our pride and our ego and our codependency, being more about ourselves, more about the world. All these other things we could choose to invest in that we think will make us happy other than maybe doing love. And so some people free willingly, Gemini is about our dualistic free will. You know, if we live in a world of duality where you have choice, there's going to be probably, and maybe, you know, if things kind of get a little tipped out of balance, things kind of get more in balance, that 50% of the people probably are going to be more aligned with hope and faith and love, and 50% of the people at any given moment are going to be more about a little more shadowy. Some of them are just a little immature or stubborn or prideful. Others can be more egotistical, more self-centered, much more motivated to make their life about these things of the world. And we go on this journey of life. That's represented by the Fool card down here in the bottom row. Oh, and also by Sagittarius starting out the bottom row. Sagittarius is about going on this adventure to learn these lessons. And we have a lot of things to learn in the world. You know, some of those things were things within us that we didn't even know how those things manipulated us. And say you're a more hopeful, believing, loving person, you could think everybody's motivated and inspired by love. And you have to learn that some people aren't. Some people, that's like the danger zone. They're not going there. If they even get to where they start to feel like, oh my gosh, I think I could love this person, you know, they're going to get out of there because that's too scary. They could get hurt. And some people are willing to sacrifice truth, love, justice, fairness, hope, faith, belief to make their life either in shadow. This could be people who are kind of more about themselves, more inspired by themselves or these things of the world. And that's just how they view life. You know? The reason for the top rose reading is the Six of Pentacles, and that's why that reading came out. And the Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy. It talks about our philosophy of life. And the truth is, some people in their Taurus earth sign philosophy of life within themselves, they're just more inspired by the world. Both the Fool card and Sagittarius is fire sign energy. Up here, we have Leo energy, which is fire sign energy. You know, high vibe Leo is like loving and believing in yourself enough to not let the world and our more immature nature and other people in our life who might be immature stop us in the Devil card from freeing ourselves from things that manipulate us, because the devil is all about these things that can manipulate us. You know, we live in the world. The Taurus energy can talk about the fact that we do want to be in friendships and relationships and have jobs, and there's these things in the world that we want to manifest, you know. And sometimes we're so kind of manipulated by those things, we might not always act with character and integrity. That's high vibe Taurus. We might get in relationships with other people who really don't act with character and integrity to a degree. Our truth is different, but we think, oh no, I'm sure it'll all work out. And it could be that we just don't even aren't inspired to keep loving and believing in ourselves. Oh, we have the strength card also. So the strength card and the Five of Wands are both Leo. To kind of stand up for our truth, quit compromising our truth. If we were in relationships with people who had learned some of the same lessons that we've learned, you think of all the different stages of life you've been at, 18, 21, 25, for example. There's a whole spectrum of people that were that age group that we could have hung out with. And we kind of were looking to get to know people. And the Eight of Wands and the Fool can be, I'm willing to get to know people. But we're trying to kind of find people that, because people are all over on the spectrum at any age group, we're kind of looking for people who kind of seem to kind of be on the same page as us, If I have certain things that I like to do and activities and social things, and I have things I don't do and that I kind of don't agree with, I'm going to probably look for people who I think are kind of more on that same page. They have a similar philosophy of life, and that we could be inspired by some of the same things. And high vibe would be, I'm inspired to go on this journey, and I do want to learn these lessons. I don't want to be more manipulated and keep letting my more immature nature, defensive nature, fearful nature, codependent, lazy, lustful, greedy nature, and the world at large to manipulate me. I want to see the truth. High vibe. Leo is also represented by the sun. And so when we learn these lessons in life, and if we are willing to deal with the truth, Leo, kind of illuminating the truth, shadowy energy can be being defensive to the truth, wanting to hide from the truth, not see the truth about how these different things manipulate us, and maybe how we keep repeating an old pattern over and over and over. And we can wonder, why isn't my life moving forward differently? Maybe because we keep repeating an old pattern. And shadowy energy can just mean that you're kind of tipped out of balance, again, kind of being manipulated by things. And then the Six of Pentacles can be putting in work and effort to get more balance within yourself. And we can always like people, like a job, be attracted to people, love people. But are we willing to deal with the truth? Are we trying to change the devil? The fives can talk about change. Sometimes we get in these more mismatched situations, and we could work somewhere, other people don't mind working there, and it's just really not kind of aligned with our truth, and everybody has their own tolerance level, uh, you know, and there too, we can get in relationships with people, and that can kind of be us and our ego. Oh, no. I do see that we're really different, Like, they might be more immature, they might be more about themselves, they might be more prideful, more egotistical, more hurtful, more unkind, more stubborn, more immature, more competitive, more manipulative, is what kind of all these cards can mean. I'm sure they'll change. Because we've all kind of been there, so at any of those ages we've been at, we knew other people who could have been at whatever way of being. But we also have known other people that were more that way, and we could have been more that way, but we're maybe not that way anymore, to whatever degree we used to indulge in things. And we think, of course, everybody grows up. Of course, everybody puts their more immature or bossy or manipulative or full of themselves ways of being behind them. They'll learn lessons in life just like the rest of us kind of did. But there's some people that they're very defensive of themselves. Aries energy is about the self. The Eight of Wands can be kind of being defensive. And more inspired by those things. They wouldn't do those things if those things didn't motivate, kind of inspire them, if that wasn't aligned with their truth. And again, Taurus energy is kind of our philosophy of life, of what we think is just and fair, what we're motivated and inspired by, our truth, how we view ourselves, how we view the world, how we view others, what we think is just and fair of how to treat people in a workplace or friendship or relationship. They wouldn't do it and act like that if that wasn't their truth. And sometimes we can have a really hard time wanting to see the truth of it because we want to be in that job, we want the friendship, we want the relationship, we love those people. And we have inner conflict and fear, the devil can be fear, about taking that leap of faith to let them do that. And you're not going to hang around them so much, or you're not going to keep working there, or not keep exchanging. The Six of Pentacles can be like exchanging more time, energy, and effort with them, and maybe to try to bring balance to the situation, because the sixes can kind of talk about balance, trying to do kind of equal give and take. Well, if you're trying and you're inspired to change and, again, could like people, could be attracted to people, the devil card in a typical like Rider-Waite deck looks just like the Lover's card, but instead of the angel there's the devil. And partly what that could mean is that they could just be in our family, in our neighborhood, in our extended family, in our community, in our workplace, our organizations. We have some worldly, because the devil can kind of represent the world. We have this kind of worldly connection with them. And so, whether they're your adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, coworkers, or whoever, we could have some worldly connection with them. And so we'd like to try to get along. But if the other person has kind of illuminated that they have inner conflict about dealing with maybe some shadowy aspects within themselves, and they kind of keep doing them. They might want to be in friendship or relationship or have you stay in that job, but, it's kind of like they're never going to do more equal give and take. And so it's kind of always kind of having to indulge someone in poor behavior. And shadowy people kind of hope that you won't stand up for yourself and kind of willing to accept the truth of it, see the truth of it, and kind of keep your distance and not exchange so much time, energy, or effort with them. They hope that because you want these things of the world, friendship, relationship, a job, that you'll keep indulging them in their poor behavior. And people can do that for a long time because they kind of have this hopeful, believing spirit that other people will kind of see the truth. Isn't it nice to work with people who are just and fair and balanced and loving and encouraging and aren't trying to manipulate you or being bossy or bratty or whatever, And you'd hope that they see the light eventually and that they free willingly, in their Gemini nature, choose to kind of get inspired within themselves to work through why don't they work together with people in a more just and fair way. But again, you have to be inspired within yourself to even want to work through those things. And some people are like, why would I do that? I'm good. I'm okay. You seem to be the one who has a problem with me. Well, I guess until you move on, and then I guess we're going to keep doing this. It works for me. And eventually the more high vibe people in their life kind of see the truth. Nothing is changing here. They are not motivated and inspired within themselves to do any of this inner work like other people did to get more balance within themselves and see maybe what they needed to change within themselves that was kind of immature or shadowy, kind of grow up and mature themselves. And you could just see, so long as shadowy people can find other people to indulge them, they'll probably keep doing it. Until they have enough people who kind of don't want to hang out with them anymore, then they might start to get the clue that maybe I do need to look at some of these things I haven't wanted to look at. So let's go look at some of these things, some lessons that some people learned along the way, and, some lessons that maybe some other people didn't. The King of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Page of Wands, the Five of Cups, the Seven of Cups, the Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Cups. Well, we start out with the King of Wands, which, like the Fool card, is Aries energy, which is about the self. We all can be pretty, as we go through life from the time we're young and kind of growing up, there's a lot of things we want to go indulge in and that we're motivated and inspired by. And, we're pretty caught up in ourselves. And we could have more just, fair, loving people in our life, and we're like, no way, man. I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do that. And, we kind of, in the Three of Wands, we have this dream, and also the one wand plus the Three of Wands is the Four of Wands, which is coming together with others in relationship. But some people could want to be in relationship with other people, but they're always kind of still more motivated and inspired to be about themselves. How it's in their best interest, and maybe wanting to indulge their more immature nature, might not want to grow up immature themselves, don't want to take on more responsibility. Like, well, if I start doing this and I start putting in more work and effort, learn new things or something, then people are going to want me to keep doing that. Some people, when they learn new things, because Sagittarius is about higher learning and education, they feel proud of themselves. And then they're kind of inspired to learn even more things. And it helped them maybe work through some negative self-thinking or lack mentality or whatever. It kind of, boosts them to maybe have more confidence within themselves, maybe feel more balanced and stable and grounded within themselves. And shadowy people can just be, well, they might expect more of me then. So, it's just a completely different way of thinking that can be hard to wrap your brain around. But they could want to be in a relationship with other people also. They might want to be in a relationship with someone else who, the Page of Wands can represent all three of the fire signs. Someone else, and they, shadowy energy, kind of represents our more worldly egoic nature. So Leo energy is down here. And so in all three of their fire sign nature, of their dualistic nature of Gemini, they're kind of more motivated and inspired to make their life about themselves, these things of the world, indulging themselves, being more about them. And they want to be in friendship and relationship too, but they might want to be in relationship with other people who are also more motivated and inspired by those things. And they might be people who, these two cards are turning their back on the Five of Cups and the Seven of Cups, which is, this is Scorpio and this is Pisces, two emotional water signs. And over here we have the Nine of Cups, which is Pisces. Some people free willingly, I don't really want to connect in with my emotions that much. And Gemini is air sign energy. Anyone in their Gemini nature within themselves can choose, to not, I'm not motivated and inspired to kind of be more balanced within myself. I do have my worldly nature. I have my more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature. Yeah, no, I don't think that's that important. And some people, it could be, again, more inspired to put in work and effort, maybe into how they look, their status, their image, their physique, their money, their career. And just don't think love is that important or connecting in with their emotions are that important. And shadowy energy can be, I know, I have an idea. I'm just going to go out in the world and present myself as like a high vibe person. Like I am more just, fair, stable, balanced, and motivated by love. And maybe some people who are loving, but might have inner conflict because something could have happened in their life and they're upset. Maybe I can, or hurt, maybe I can get those people to get in a relationship with me and then stay in a relationship with me. But it's more inspired maybe out of ego, out of fear, out of heartbreak, whatever it could be. And then they want them to turn their back on their more emotionally intuitive, loving nature. And the Six of Pentacles can kind of be swapping this foundation and truth for that foundation and truth. Shadowy people want to change loving people. Stay loving, but let's make our life more about me or these things of the world. You give up your dreams because the Fool card also does have some Aquarius and Pisces aspect to it. And Aquarius is air sign energy also, like Gemini, which can be more about having a dream and how we can kind of be tempted in our more worldly nature of these things we want, our idea of the dream life, and maybe looking like a shining star in the world in some way. But Pisces is more about connecting in with our emotions and our intuition and our more hopeful, believing, loving nature and the dreams that we have. And so then in our fire sign nature of Aries, kind of, which our Aries nature is the one that goes and takes us action to get new things. Will it be love coming out of our ego, seeing the truth, dealing with the truth, seeing where we need to change, seeing what we doesn't work for us, and move forward? Or do we kind of give in to repeating an old pattern? And because some people could just think love is just an illusion. That's just another thing that people use to try to manipulate people. And shadowy people can be quite manipulative because it's more about how it benefits them. High vibe energy is working together with people cooperatively from love to bring a joint dream into reality. And everyone is supposed to equally, that there's going to be some things that might have to be sacrificed to maintain that relationship that we feel is just and fair. And if we don't want to work together with people more cooperatively in a just and fair way, well then, maybe some people just shouldn't even get in a relationship. But of course, they want to be in a relationship, could enjoy relationships. They just could have a problem with being more authentic, is how I view high vibe Leo. Coming out from behind their ego, their defensive nature. And then we have the Nine of Swords, like willing to be in a relationship, but the Nine of Cups can be becoming more independent of your past pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurity, defensiveness, being more about yourself, blah blah. To become independent of that, from the 7 to the 9 is the Two of Cups, and we go on this journey to get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And when do people decide, you know what, I am going to take that leap of faith? But people could have had to go on a long journey. And, we can all have a dream of wanting to have these new beginnings. And the Five of Cups can be that we do get into some of these new beginnings. But then, it can be confusing, is what both the Five of Cups and the Seven of Cups are Scorpio energy, which is kind of what I view as the emotional water sign that we connect in with when we're in the midst of a relationship. And the 5s and the 7s are kind of challenging times in a relationship. We can start out a job, friendship, or relationship, and we move forward in it. We've had this new beginning, but then we kind of have to work through the 5 and the 7. Are we willing to do? Scorpio in High Vibe talks about doing a more deep, meaningful relationship. Have we worked through regrets of the past? Have we worked through some past pain and heartbreak? Have we worked through some of our fears of being more independent in the world and independent of our more defensive nature and things of the past? And have we learned these lessons in life that not everybody's the same? And odds are, because we have lessons to learn, we might, through our life, be kind of drawn and attracted to people who we don't realize it at the time, but the whole reason we could have come together was to maybe help each other through difficult times because we had some commonality that brought us together, but to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't, so that we can continue on our journey, and the people in our life who are willing to keep going on that journey with us keep moving forward with us. And we all could have fear, but we don't want to keep repeating old patterns. So I view High Vibe Leo as being loving, kind of like being your own best mother, father, coach voice in your head. In your Gemini nature, you have the free will to do that. Or there can be all these things that manipulate you. Could be other people in your life. Could be past pain and heartbreak. It could be working through emotional confusion and these illusions that we had about thinking everybody's motivated by this. No, everybody's motivated by that. The shadowy people can't understand, or more worldly people can't understand maybe why people don't want to be in a relationship with them if they feel like they have these things or live their life in a certain way or look a certain way or whatever, that they, of course, think should make people want to be in a relationship with them and stay in a relationship with them. They could be up in their head about stepping outside of their comfort zone and doing love. So they're trying to find other people who might be afraid of loving and believing in themselves, facing their fears, maintaining balance within themselves, and just stay in a more mismatched or codependent, it looks like love. I like you, you like me. Let's all live from our mind more than our heart. Let's keep indulging ourselves. And that's what shadowy Nine of Cups can be. Let's keep making it more being inspired by me or you or these things of the world or these things we indulge in. But let's not be more authentic. Let's not come out from behind our ego. Let's not change. Let's not deal with our fears and our insecurities. Let's not shine our authentic light in the world. And shadowy energy can just be, I want to make my life more conforming to the world. And that's their truth. And that can be what makes them happy. Some of the people right now are kind of going on a journey of whatever it is that motivates and inspires them. And they could be in friendships or relationships or have a job, but it's really just more kind of about them. They want to keep repeating a certain pattern, and part of that pattern could be to, I do want jobs, friendship, and relationships, so I will make gestures to people, but it's more hoping other people are up in their head about even seeing the truth of who they are. Are you going to indulge me? Are you going to not see the truth that I'm kind of not motivated and inspired to change? I might want to stay in the job, the friendship, or the relationship, but just more for how it benefits me. If it's good for my ego, my image, and my status, I'll stay. So long as you don't require me to change, and so long as you stay in denial of the truth. And that can be where some people are at in some of those situations. And they have maybe this fear of change, fear of becoming independent of a job, friendship, or relationship, fear of speaking their truth, illuminating the truth, fear of just, we as human beings, we would like the things that we've invested in to work out the way we wanted. And we can have a fear of change because that's scary, and sometimes we'd rather stay with the devil we know than face the devil we don't know. But the whole thing is, if we take the lessons that we've learned on that throughout all of our life experience, we could have met people who are more immature. We could have met people, that could just be more immature or full of themselves, have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. Or maybe shadowy Scorpio can be more emotionally shallow and superficial. It's hard to have a high vibe Leo relationship, which is like high vibe Scorpio, having a more deep, meaningful relationship with people, if they're not someone who even is connected in with their own emotions or never comes out from behind their more defensive egoic nature, And we've been in relationships, probably known people who very much want to live more from their mind than their heart, makes them feel safe and secure. Might be people who are very strategic and think they're very smart and try to manipulate and control everything, instead of going with the flow and just working together with people from love, kind of letting love and intuition guide you. And for some people, it's like, no, that's too scary. So they just decide to keep repeating this pattern. And if other people move on, those people kind of dealt with the truth of it, saw some people have some of these issues or fears or insecurities or immaturity or codependency or more about themselves or the world to such an extent that it's hard to have a more balanced relationship with them. So that's when some people see the truth that I can't change other people, and that's kind of like getting out of your ego. God and everybody else has been working with these people. And some of these people are like immature, petulant, self-centered, egotistical children in whatever age body that they're in, right? Some of them just are happy kind of living their life the way it is, and maybe they're not inspired to do things differently, Other people, maybe in their Sagittarius and their fire sign energy and their Leo energy, they're just more inspired within themselves to, that it could feel too dead and stagnant kind of for them if it just stays the same all the time. It's like, can we go try some different things? Can we go to some different social activities, some different things? Must we do this every day on this day and every weekend and blah, blah, blah? And other people are like, why would we ever want to do anything different? I completely love this. And it's just like, to each their own. Everyone has the free will. Gemini, also represented by the magician, which is Gemini and Virgo, which is kind of what our long-term goals are, what our truth is, kind of what drives and motivates us, and what we want to manifest for our life that we think will make us happy. And we know people all over the spectrum. With all of those people all over the spectrum, with a lot of people, can we get along with them in our neighborhood, in organizations, in work, in our family? Yeah. Do I want to be in a more involved relationship with you? No. Do they want to be in a more involved relationship with us? Probably not, because we know, like, well, we're going to go do this. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go do that. I'm going to go do this. Yeah, no, we don't want to go do that. And that's okay. Different strokes for different folks. It's just really hard if it's someone that we had either been in a friendship or relationship with, and we wanted them to keep moving forward with us, and we want probably being loving and encouraging and supportive. But we could work through some hurdles, because again, the 5 and 7s are kind of those difficult times. Am I going to keep moving forward with it? And you kind of, you work through some things, you keep moving forward with it. Then the sevens come up, and then it's like, well, now we're at another kind of decision point. Are we going to keep moving forward with it? And if you work through that, you keep moving forward with it. But then, to go on that next journey, like, oh, that's further out of my comfort zone. That's kind of, you could look at Leo as kind of more coming into your own, having gotten more clear, more about what your truth is and your truth isn't than when you're going on this journey in life. And so we could have people that went through us on that journey, and we could have went through many cycles with some people. But then it could be really kind of looking at life differently, a way of kind of viewing life that in high vibe Taurus could be, I'm just not as driven and motivated more by these things of the world like it used to drive and motivate me. Those things don't manipulate me the way they used to. I'm kind of more inspired to just kind of see more clearly different things that manipulate me. And so then they could move forward differently. They could ask people to come with them. Some people won't come with them. And a big difference can be is that, again, shadowy people they haven't learned some of these lessons in life, which could be they're not even inspired in the Page of Wands as a King of Wands to themselves, to kind of love and believe in themselves. They don't work with their more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature that has a dream. And so even their own high vibe nature could feel unloved and confused why these people live so much up in their head, why they're not more independent, why they're not willing to maybe be more inspired within themselves, to connect in with their more emotionally intuitive, creative nature, be more independent in the world. See how all these things could kind of manipulate them within themselves and people in their life and the world at large. Their own high vibe nature would like things to change. They would like things to be more balanced. Just like high vibe people in their life would like things to change and for things to be more balanced. But since this is the Six of Pentacles, this could have represented more of the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles also in Taurus was that, again, we were kind of more caught up in these things of the world. That was our primary focus. And people could put a lot of work and effort to have some of those things, where maybe then those things aren't so much of a driving factor in their life. They're ready to kind of go to the next phase of life. Or they've gotten in some situations that weren't aligned with their truth. They keep not giving up on their dreams. They keep moving forward. I can't change other people and their viewpoints and their opinion. And if more of the people in my life, which for the first 30 to 50 years were pretty caught up in the world. So probably a lot of people in our life for the first 30 to 50 years of our life are pretty caught up in the world. And then they can be upset that, why do you view life differently? Why aren't you so caught up in these things? Why isn't this more the primary focus? And high vibe Taurus can be kind of being a spiritual leader in the world. And part of that can be just even feeling, I think there's more to life than just making my life about me and these things of the world. And maybe I used to be more up in my head about loving and believing in myself, but having gone through these experiences and kind of feeling confused and hurt and feeling like people maybe aren't being more authentic, I have a dream. And if I want that dream to come into reality, I have to accept the truth that some of the people in my life, their idea of the dream life and their truth is different than my truth. So basically my dream can't come into reality with them. And I need to quit trying to change people. Let them live their life. face my own fears, to probably pick up my investment in them and start putting in work and effort into things that are more aligned with my truth, activities, people, my job, my career, my own unique talent, skills, and interests, and the people who do more work together with me in that way. And then I'll probably feel more balanced within myself because I don't have people maybe trying to confuse me or get me up in my head or want me to indulge them and doing immature things or being bossy or controlling or whatever. Every day that I'm not around people like that is a good day. And so between the devil and this is this card not showing itself. And that can be a stage of our own progression. We want a new beginning, but, things are, shadowy energy at a big picture is represented by the devil. That, the devil's kind of more about immediate gratification, but the devil lies. So you go pursue those things that you think are the answer. And then that could be high vibe Taurus energy, where if I indulge poor behavior in myself or I indulge other people in poor behavior, how am I going to get this? So I have to maintain balance within myself to not indulge in poor behavior in myself and not indulge other people in poor behavior, or I'm still in a more imbalanced, mismatched relationship. So I need to maybe, the only person I can change is me. What is it in me, in my own worldly nature, that got me in those friendships, jobs, and relationships and made me stay there as long as I did? Ego, fear, insecurity, competitiveness, my want for these things of the world. I'm going to work through those things so that those things don't manipulate me like that anymore. And so the high vibe people used to harness this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way. And that's kind of what got them into some of those situations. And now they're harnessing it in a more high vibe way. And that's how they're able to maintain balance within themselves. But shadowy people just try to create the illusion, like, I've healed, I've grown, I've matured myself. And so they think that's what you're doing because that's how they view life, and they think everybody is just putting on a show. That's what they don't get. Some of those people, the devil can be jealous and envious. How are you doing that? How did you work through all of this? Because they didn't work through all of this. They never quit being more manipulated by giving in to their more immature, shadowy nature or being more about themselves. And they could think you're just more about yourself. You just hide it better than they do. And it's just a completely different way of looking at life. They don't get it. No, some people are motivated and inspired by love. And they're not as manipulated by themselves or their self-indulgent nature or the world like some other people are. And that's what they don't get. Well, why do all these things manipulate me, and why doesn't it seem to manipulate you? It's like because I worked through the fact that I have a dream, and I used to kind of make my life more about those things. But then I realized from the 8 to the 1, I was defending something that was kind of more me indulging myself in my more immature egoic nature, or other people that were in their more immature egoic nature. And I kind of thought about the dreams that I had and realized I was in relationships with people maybe who weren't working together with me cooperatively from love. And I do have free will to align with, between the 5 and the 7 and the 2 of Cups, to align with people and invest in people who, in their Cancer nature within themselves, Cancer is emotional water sign energy represented by the 2 of Cups, about what people love. If I'm motivated and inspired by love, I need to be in relationships with people who are motivated and inspired by love. And they could love other things, other people, whatever it is. And I need to accept the truth of it and become independent of them. Take back that 2 of Cups from the 7 to the 9. I'm not going to keep indulging and exchanging resources and time, energy, and effort with people who aren't willing to work together with me from love. They can go do that with someone else. I'm going to love and believe in myself, face my fears and my insecurities, and I'm going to work on this. What is it? The Queen of Wands, which I view as Leo energy. Work through my own ego nature and my own fears and insecurities about these things of the world that I want, and then maybe be inspired to listen to my, my more intuitive, creative, inspired nature, love and believe in myself, to maintain balance within myself. If I'm not more motivated more by the ego of things, I don't want to be in a relationship with other people who are. And the queens can talk about how people think and feel. And if you've come to realize that some people seem to be more manipulated by their worldly egoic nature, or themselves, or immature, all the things that can be shadowy, it's like, no, I'm not going to keep trying to change people. If I've worked together with them and I've tried to work together with them in a just and fair and balanced way, and they keep showing me kind of repeatedly they don't want to do that, then I wish them peace. They can go do that with someone else. And I'm not going to be in my ego about it. That can all take time. But eventually you do get out of your ego about it. Because sometimes shadowy people, if they know that you're doing this work to heal and love and believe in yourself, and they know you're going to kind of want to move forward in life a little differently, and they don't want to move forward in life any differently, like, no, stay here and let's keep doing it this way. They will do all these things that can be hurtful and unkind and unjust and unfair and immature, all in an attempt to manipulate you. Well, that's not love. Loving people and more mature people have learned to offer love to the situation. And the other people haven't learned that lesson. Oh no, I think I have a better idea. I'm going to turn my back on you. You'll be confused. You'll be up in your head. I bet you won't love and believe in yourself. I bet you'll come back and indulge me at this workplace, friendship, or relationship. And people can do that over and over and over. And eventually it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to keep indulging them. I'm ready to move on. If I kind of feel like in the 5 of Pentacles that this could represent, that it could be abundant in a lot of these ways of the world, but is it equally abundant in truth and love, being creative, being inspired, being authentic, being just, being fair? Or are those things like, oh no, those things aren't important. This is what's most important. This is what should drive and motivate you. This should make you stay. And it's like, those things don't manipulate me to that degree. I am willing to let some of all of that go because I want a new beginning. And I'm going to, might be upset, needless. Why is it so hard for people to work together with people in a more just and fair way? Because they don't want to. And you work through getting out of your ego about it. My dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway. Now, as you're moving forward, some of you in your life, there could be other people who could be attracted to you, who could like you. Some of them might could be wondering if they're kind of used to people kind of indulging them. Maybe they're attracted. The devil can be that people have these certain traits or characteristics about them that people could find appealing in the world. Leo could be that people shine bright in some way in the world. And for some of you, you're just maintaining balance within yourself, getting along with them, and they could be used to people more fighting over them. And you don't maybe seem to be doing that. Like, I am willing to just get to know you. If you're willing to want to get to know me, and we'll get to know each other. Some people don't want to really get to know other people. They might just want to have a fling and kind of indulge themselves. Or they just might be wondering why you're not indulging them in their ego. It's like, I don't want to indulge anybody in their ego. You do you, I'm going to do me. And if we're both not willing to kind of get out of our ego to just get along and get to know each other, then I guess we won't. And I will continue on my way. And I guess you will go try to find someone else to fight over you or indulge you. And we can have people in our life that we could have had a new beginning with. And again, sometimes those people kind of want us to give up our dreams and kind of, again, be more codependent because we're attracted to them, we like them, whatever. And they don't like that some people are continuing to maintain balance within themselves. And it's either like they've got to do this work within themselves to kind of, if they want to go on that journey, and some people might not like it, and they might decide, I don't like that you're more independent. I don't like that I can't get you to make it more about me. And some of those relationships won't last. What's coming up for the high vibe people they might not see coming? The Two of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the High Priestess. And the reason is because of the devil. Well, it can be really hard, is what the devil talks about. We have people in our life, again, that we would like to be in a more involved relationship with, could be attracted to, are in a relationship with, we're in a relationship with. But you saw the truth, that it was kind of toxic. See, here they have the chains and shackles on them. It's like a more codependent relationship, and you didn't want to be in a more codependent relationship, but the other people want you to keep being in a more codependent relationship. Where probably if you were the more loving, hopeful, believing person, you were the one indulging them. Trying to hope that they would put an end to their more immature ways and kind of listen to their intuition and see how they were kind of being shadowy and kind of juggle the truth. Well, you decided to pick up your investment in them, get balance within yourself. And again, you could have tried to inspire people to work together with you in a more balanced way. And some of those people are like, nope, if you're not going to let me juggle the truth, where I don't have to speak the truth, stand up for myself, be more authentic, come out from behind my ego. You want me to put an end to my more immature Sagittarius ways of indulging myself and maybe being hurtful and unkind and being more about myself and continue to juggle the truth. And you're like, if that's what you're going to keep doing, then I'm done. I'm listening to my intuition. The High Priestess is Cancer and Pisces energy. I have a dream of being in a relationship because of love. Can I like people, have them in my family, attracted to them, whatever? Yeah. And I'm not going to keep exchanging resources with them. And from the Six of Pentacles down to the Two of Pentacles, it's letting go of the Four of Pentacles. Some people in your life and a way of living life and viewing life that you feel wasn't healthy, basically. And you're not going to keep indulging them. And sometimes people can get spoiled in a relationship. If you're someone who always puts in the work and effort, you love those people, you're the one who reaches out, you're the one who kind of keeps pursuing things to keep them moving forward, eventually people can kind of get spoiled in it. And then it's like, oh, they'll reach out, oh, they'll call me. And after a while, you kind of realize, if I didn't put in work and effort to keep moving this forward, would it even move forward? And so then you might kind of start investing some time, energy, and effort elsewhere, well, then those people, it kind of illuminates to them that they are kind of operating from their ego, because why aren't they reaching out? Well, that's when they might not have wanted to see it before, but when you're kind of not putting in the work and effort like you used to, it's like, well, it only seemed to be if I reached out anyway that we communicated or we talked or we hung out. And, I decided to invest my time, energy, and effort into some other things, maybe with some people who equally want to reach out and hang out or do whatever. Then the devil's kind of mad and they're kind of in their ego because they really don't want to illuminate. And that's when they can end up kind of realizing that, damn, you kind of saw the truth that I was kind of indulging myself. And that shadowy Sagittarius of the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands, I kept thinking you'd just keep indulging me because I know like you love me or like me or we've been friends forever. And it's like, well, you're not chasing after people anymore. Why? The Two of Pentacles and the Devil are Capricorn energy. You put in work and effort to love and believe in yourself that you deserve a just and fair relationship. You picked up your investment in the devil and you're not going back. And then when some of the shadowy people, after turning their back to you or being hurtful or being unkind or being confusing or being manipulative or being immature, and all the other times you kind of, it's kind of like Judgment Day. Eventually, people say, I have given everything I can give. And apparently, enough is never enough for the devil. I want more. I want it to be more about me. I want to be more indulged. Whatever. And eventually it's like, I'm done. And then, as you are loving yourself, maintaining balance within yourself, kind of distancing yourself, kind of seeing again that the other people aren't kind of putting in work and effort, you kind of see the truth, can't hide from the truth anymore. And so you could have gotten out of one job, friendship, or relationship, could have started a new one. You're having a new beginning here. And you're listening to your intuition more now about people, where before you could have had a more, you know, Page of Wands, a more naive, gullible way of viewing life, thinking everybody's motivated and inspired by love. And based on what you've experienced, you know that 50% of the people are shadowy. And you're getting to know people and listening to your intuition about who's who. And the people who repeat poor past patterns or ways of being, or again, kind of manipulative or deceptive or prideful or immature, it's like, yeah, note taken. And I'm moving on to focus my time and attention on people who are more on the same page. And so then we could kind of look at the devil as just human beings, and our kind of fallen nature. To find other people who may have better boundaries within themselves, who've worked through their more immature, codependent illusions about love and have become independent of that, and are more inspired by truth and love to be in a relationship. And as other people see you not repeating patterns, because again, there could be people who could want to be in friendship or relationship with you, but because of other circumstances they've went through in their life, they could be kind of defensive because they've known people who are a false mask and they weren't who they said they were. But as you keep moving forward, maintaining balance, not being shadowy, not being immature, continuing to be loving and encouraging and work together with people cooperatively, eventually some people who have been going back and forth work through their own inner conflict. And it's like, nope, my intuition tells me this person isn't shadowy, and I am going to work together with them in a more just and fair and balanced way. And then both of you will do that with people in the world, and other people could eventually see the truth of it and move forward. What's coming up for some shadowy people who are defensive to taking that leap of faith, or just more inspired to be about themselves or the world? What's coming up for them that they might not see coming? Oh, and for you, as you're moving forward in your life, it is it's a challenge to other people in the world, because there's always going to be people who would be willing to be in a friendship or relationship with you if you would be more shadowy. But because you're maintaining balance in your life, it kind of can energetically help keep shadowy people away. If you were to go out in your Knight of Wands and go do some things, yeah, there could be people that are just waiting for you to go out and do something like that. And it's like, tap, 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 tap. When are they going to go do something shadowy? Then I would come in. And it's like, I'm not going to do that. And then it's like, damn. And they got to get over themselves. If they want to be in a relationship or a friendship with you, they're going to have to temper their more immature egoic nature and communicate with you and do equal give and take, or you won't be in a friendship or relationship with them. And you could end up working things out either in a job, a friendship, or relationship where you really look like you. And that's like high vibe energy. It's like God wants to give you abundance in your life and has a bigger plan for your life than you have for yourself, that you could really look like you got it going on in the world. Where other people tried to go about it in this more shadowy way, which shadowy Taurus of a philosophy of relationship, I'm either going to go indulge someone or someone has to indulge me, because that's how they view life. High vibe energy, it's supposed to be based on truth and love, and it's not supposed to be about indulging people or making someone the more privileged, pampered person in the relationship. It's supposed to be because of love. But since that's what they think, they're probably going to keep doing that because that is their philosophy of life. What's coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy that they might not see coming? And then as you keep moving forward, some of the shadowy people might want to balance things out with you. Because now, you could look like the person that if they were in a relationship with you, that you would seem like the better option. That would seem better for my ego, my image, or my status. Or they went to go try to get in relationships, maybe with people who live life more like them, and they didn't like being in a relationship with people who are like themselves. And I think for the people that that they're still not being authentic, you wouldn't get in a relationship with them. And that's what bothers the devil. They have to get out of their ego, and in high vibe Leo, have to illuminate the truth. And the devil has a problem with that. They'd have to admit, what? I was immature, what? I was bossy, controlling, manipulative, immature, self-indulgent, had some growing up to do. Well, so is everybody else in the world. And the other people worked through it and got out of their ego about it. Yep, I did have growing up and maturing to do. Yep, I could have driven my life in the ditch. The truth sets you free. And some other people are kind of too prideful to admit the truth. They're fallible human beings who made mistakes like other people. So what's coming up for the more worldly, shadowy people that they might not see coming? The Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords. Why? Because of the Justice card. Well, they think it's just and fair that both the Justice card and the Two of Swords is their Libra energy within themselves. They keep thinking it's just and fair to keep moving forward, staying in denial of the truth is what the Two of Swords can be. They don't want to listen to their intuition. Their intuition could be telling them, this is unjust, this is unfair, this is immature, you're being manipulative, you're being selfish, you're being more caught up in these things. you should kind of grow up and mature yourself, or you should reveal the truth, or you should work through whatever it is, these things that manipulate you. But they don't want to deal with the truth. They want to keep staying in denial of the truth. However it is they perceive themselves, however it is they perceive some other people in their life, they don't want to see the truth. That they're kind of shadowy. And so they think they can, like, cheat the justice system. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do this and that. And they think that they can force the wheel of fate, like, to go in their favor. They just got to find other people who don't know the truth about them. And they can do that, but they're repeating the same pattern over. And either high vibe people eventually kind of work through their own issues and they move on, or they do get in a relationship with someone who maybe could be much more codependent on them, which could be what they like. Because you make it's like trying to be God in someone's life. Don't you love and believe in yourself to be more independent? I don't want to be in a high vibe Gemini lovers relationship where we respect each other as individuals. No, I want you to look at me as God in your life. I want you to make me the primary focus in your life. And they might get someone who does that, but it could be someone who's quite immature, who also hasn't dealt with some of their regrets in the past and has illusions about and fears, and they could always be afraid. And so then, that's how people can end up being controlling in a relationship. Because, well, that kind of makes me think of this little plaque. A bird sitting on a branch is not afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch, but in her own wings. Everybody's so afraid of someone leaving, they can become very controlling, and it can be all this manipulation back and forth, Right when it seems it's going well, then someone seems to be happy, then I got to do something to maybe disappoint them and make them not love and believe in themselves. I think ultimately, they could think they have a very just and fair life, and they do. It's just like, to a degree, when we were 18, we lived our life like an 18-year-old, and we thought we were living the dream life. And like I say, some people live their life like an 18-year-old all their life. So long as that's their truth, well, then that would be something that they could find emotionally fulfilling and they view as just and fair. It's just that other people who kind of listening to your intuition, love gives birth to new things. It continues to grow and mature itself. And some of these people don't kind of grow and mature their self. And other people do. And the people who are more connected in with their intuition and high vibe Libra, more balanced within themselves, are going to move away from them. And the people they'll more be surrounded by are other people who also could be full of themselves, also really caught up in the world or what it is they indulge in to make themselves feel better. And they might defend it, and that's fine. Teach their own. It's just that other people didn't let their more immature nature, their more fearful nature, their codependent nature, the world at large, things they indulge in, more important in their life than love and living their more authentic truth and facing their fears. And they're more balanced within themselves, where the other people could always be a little more out of balance and get more mismatched relationships. The high vibe people would just be in more maybe stable, grounded, because balance is how we kind of move forward swiftly, because it's like all four tires of the vehicle are aired up. And some of these people, again, they're not balanced. So it's like having two of the wheels on their car have air. Oh, those other two tires aren't important. Well, how's that going to work? And And again, they could keep repeating a pattern. It might not keep working out the way they want, and they can't understand why. But again, some of them are so full of themselves, or because in their own Taurus energy within themselves, which can talk about these things of the world that they could have that make them look abundant in some way in the world, they could not understand why people don't want to be in a relationship with them. And they don't understand they have some shadowy ways of being that they need to let go of. But those could be the very things that how they define their own worth and value. And then what if those things went away? You know, God could make those things go away in a heartbeat. Then what do they have? You know, other people know their kind of worth and value outside of those things. And they still are able to keep moving forward, inspired by things other than just these things of the world. But for some of these people, these things of the world are so important to them that they'll go pursue those things. People indulge them or they indulge other people. And they'll kind of wonder why doesn't it, for some, why doesn't it seem to be what I thought it would be? It's like just kind of not looking at life from a higher perspective, you know? So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.